not sure I can contain my excitement. 10th edition, we all knew it was coming. Everybody knows when new editions of 40k are coming and everything, because it's just a 3-year cycle or the 4-year cycle, so we all figure it out. But 10th edition is coming. What we didn't know is how much of a rules change there was going to be. There were rumours that it was going to be like a hard reset and there were going to be tweaks and changes and things. There were rumours that stratagems were going to be cut down and that we're going to be simplifying the stat lines and everything. However, there's a lot to talk about. Right, let's get into it. I want to start. I really do want to start with the trailer because the trailer's awesome. Although it's got Gilliman at the beginning of it, and if you watch my Lion video, you'll unfortunately know that I am sadly really tempted to pick up Gilliman because it would be really cool to have Gilliman and the Lion. Although somebody commented on my one of the last videos that I should get all of them, so I need Magnus and Morty and Angron as well and everything. So I don't know, but I think I do need Gilliman. Anyway, let's have a quick look. Well, it's so cool. It's so cool. I mean, it opens with Gilliman sitting there, standing in front of Sanguinius's tomb on Baal, going, "Oh no, I don't know what happened." Right. If anybody hasn't seen this,
that is what the preachers cry from the spires of their temples. What commanders tell the soldiers in their service. The Indomitus Crusade meets with triumph after triumph. Day by day we tear Imperium Nihilus from the despoiler's grip. And though we are beset on all sides,
by the iniquities of
with each battle we drive back the mutant, the heretic, the alien.
I'm going to end up having to pause and stuff around here.
As I speak these words, our forces engage the remnants of Leviathan.
Oh my god! Right, where's the pause?
Reclaiming lost worlds,
Because there's some cool
atoning for old shames. A crusade to cleanse the stars.
I mean, that's horrifying straight away. You've got a space marine on a spike. So that was, what was that? That was in was that in Baal? When when they went out to find all the Blood Angels and the Blood Angels were on all the Tyranids. Screamer Killer.
Taking the fight to the enemy.
Screamer Killer. Please, please, please do a new Khan effect. Oh my god, if you do a Screamer Killer, that would be amazing. I don't think I have an old Screamer Killer, but I will probably try and find one so that I can do a before and after. Nostalgic, come on. Primaris Flamer. Box Dreadnought. There's so much stuff going on in this trailer, it's insane. So now, is that a Box Dreadnought or is that a Redemptor? Is that a Redemptor with a las cannon? It looks like a Box Dreadnought, but then when it fires, you can see like the nappy bit. That's a Redemptor, isn't it? So that's a las cannon missile launcher Redemptor, which is really cool. Screamer Killer dying. Flamer again, heavy flamer. Boot in the face.
We routed the Tyranids at Baal. We broke their high fleet. Soon, their foulness will be but a memory.
Lictor. Lictor, anybody?
That is what the preachers say.
So, that's not a Box Dreadnought, that's the las cannon missile Redemptor. Fair enough, that's cool. There's the Redemptor again getting shot. And what comes to the rescue? Teleport Homer! It's just too much.
Relief will not save us. Lies will not protect us.
What was that? I don't know whether that was a new eradicator.
Will not protect us.
That there, what's that? Is that a new... That's just a... That's a melter. That's a combi melter. That's a combi melter. That's interesting. Okay. Because technically the flamer that he brought out was a combi flamer. So we've had a combi flamer and a combi melter now as well. Teleport Homer coming down.
But it is our hope that will damn us.
And I mean that reminds me of the Ultramarine movie. That's probably really boring. That's the worst CGI in the trailer, but hey, who cares? This is awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad they haven't like simplified them. Probably the best bit in the trailer. Probably the best bit in the trailer. Okay, so we'll just rewind to that because like 40k is grimdark and everything, but it's still got a sense of humour.
The spires in the slums.
Now, is that a hive tyrant? I know there was rumours of like a winged warrior. So is that a hive tyrant or a winged tyrannid warrior?
In the spires in the slums.
I think it's a hive. Oh, I don't know actually. And oh, it's so good. The Imperium are getting their asses kicked. Brain bug. Brain bug. Boom.
Our people sing of victory. Victory as the galaxy burns. Victory as the Imperium rots around us.
There's just so much going on.
Victory as humanity rages against the dying of the light.
There we go. 10th edition.
Victory.
I would urge you to go and have a look at that again. Just throw it up on full screen on your computer and just go and have a look at it. But there's so much going on here. So much going on here. And obviously we've got loads of the combi melters and the combi flamers, which is really interesting. We've got the new Terminators. We've got Terminator Librarian, which I don't think that's completely gone under the radar. Terminator Librarian in here with a force axe. Yeah, there's some really, really cool, interesting stuff in here. Now, when they're talking about... They then went in and they talked about 10th edition in terms of what was happening with it and everything. There's another video here. Go and watch that one where they talk about all the stuff that they're going to be doing, all the changes that they're making.
Warhammer 40,000.
All the rules tweaks and things like that. So one of the things that they were talking about is they're going to make it. They're going to simplify it, but they're not making. They're not. They were very clear in the fact that they were going to simplify the game, but they're not making the game simple, which is really interesting. Like you can't make the game simple. You don't want it to be. I mean, chess is complicated in certain ways, but it's a very simple game in terms of here are how many pieces are there? 5, 6, 6 different pieces in chess. 7. So there's not many pieces, but there's lots of variations and everything. So it's a simple game, but yeah, they're simplifying the game, but not like making the game simple. And one of the cool things about it is that everything is getting data cards. Now, they also said that We are getting Index Hammer, so we're going back to Index Hammer. Whenever they do like a big kind of hard reset in editions, that's they release like an index, which is great. So everybody's going to be, all the armies are going to be working from the same data sheets. You're going to be able to get the data sheets for free. So these are two of the examples. So they this is interesting actually, because they revealed both of these data sheets on stream. One of them was Termagant's. There we go. We'll just make that bigger. One of them was Termagant's without the Ripper Swarm, and one of them was Termagant's with a Ripper Swarm. And if you look, they've got slightly different stat lines. So one of them's the Termagants with the Ripper Swarm are leadership 9, with the Ripper Swarms being leadership 10. The Termagants without the Ripper Swarms are leadership 8. They've both got an OC. So an OC is an objective count. So if you are on an objective, you're going to count as effectively. I think you're going to end up counting as 2 models for the sake of counting who holds the objective. If you think of objective secured, so I think that will probably be going away. Objective secured will be going away, but you're going to have an objective count, and that's going to make it really interesting for things like knights. So knights will obviously have a higher objective count than Termagants. And Ripper Swarms and Space Marines and things like that. But Space Marines, I would imagine, would have a higher objective count than Termagants. They also talked about the morale phase has gone. So the morale phase is being merged into the command phase, and it's being called Battle Shock. Which I don't think they mentioned anything more about that, but the one thing they did say is that models won't be running away anymore. And with that, so what's going to be the impact of the Battle Shock phase? I would imagine, just kind of spitballing ideas, I would imagine it will be something that affects the amount of actions or what actions you can do in the subsequent turn. So if you are shocked, if you are in Battle Shock, maybe you can't move your full distance, or maybe your ballistic skill moves down a little bit. You can have a modifier to your ballistic skill, whatever. Speaking of ballistic skills, the ballistic skill is tied into the weapon, which is interesting. Now, tying a ballistic skill into the weapon makes tweaking things really interesting, because rather than having Termagants, or if you think of Hive Guard, rather than having Hive Guard always hitting on a 3+, for instance, maybe one of the weapons hits on a 3+, one of the weapons hits on a 4+. If one of the weapons starts being a little bit overpowered, then you don't have to change anything particularly on the Hive Guard datasheet. You can just tweak that one ballistic skill for that one particular weapon. So that provides a really good level of intricacy for tweaking and changing and balancing units within themselves, which is really interesting. The abilities. I'm so glad. So they said they were moving away from stratagems. I don't know whether they're moving completely away from stratagems, but they did say they're going to make them simplifying. I'm so glad that things like this are going back onto the data cards. I hated the fact that, like, in 8th edition, for instance, the death marks could come in and come in on from deep strike when you deep strike, and they could come in, they could intercept your deep strike, and you can take a shot. Taking that ability out and putting it in a stratagem, or the smoke launchers, for instance, for the predators and the rhinos, taking the smoke launchers out of the abilities and putting it as a stratagem, that's just dumb. Don't do that. Keep it in the abilities. You want cool units to be defined by their abilities, and if you can have their abilities on the data cards, then that makes each unit concise. It makes them compact. It makes them all in one page. So you don't need great amounts of pages to be running around with to play the game. This is going to be great. Like they have said, you can be able to get all these rules for free, or you're going to be able to get hold of the cards as well. So for all the armies that I play, I will 100% get the cards straight away. Like, I just want them straight away. Need the cards straight off. And because it's all self-contained, when you go and play with your army, if you have an army and it's got 4 units in it, you're going to have 4 cards plus your army rules. Done. I don't think you're going to need to have anything else. You're going to need to have the rulebook so you know how to play. But beyond that, 4 cards plus your army special rules, done, finished. I think that's fantastic. Now, the abilities. I really want to talk about the abilities because we can delve deep into this. Because once per turn, so this is the Termagants one. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches of this unit, if this unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, then it can make a normal move of up to d6 inches. Now, this is so good, and I will tell you why. This is moving away from I go, you go. So it's moving away from I'm going to move all my army, I'm going to shoot all my army, and I'm just going to remove you. This is fantastic. So this is very much a reactionary style game, which is exciting. If you imagine that the Termagants are able to move after somebody else has moved. So if you're moving up your Death Company to charge Termagants, and you move within 9 inches of them so that you can charge them, you either or you want to charge them, you either have to move up to 10 inches and hope you can make the charge. I'm guessing that charges are 2d6 still. They may not be. I always like the idea of movement plus d6 for a charge, but that's beside the point. Or maybe movement plus 2d3, something like that. Anyway, so you can either move up to 10 inches and hope you make the charge, or you move closer than 10 inches. But if you move closer than 10 inches, you've got to know that the Termagants are then going to be able to make a reaction and either move away from you to make the charge harder, maybe move onto an objective so that they are now holding an objective. Yeah, there's all sorts of things that you're going to be able to do. Maybe you're going to be able to, if the Death Company, think about this one, if Death Company are going to come in and try and charge your Hive Guard, but they get too close to the Termagants can move in front of the Hive Guard and protect the Hive Guard, so you're going to end up with immovable screens. The reaction ideas on this, the abilities that allow you to be able to do that, are going to make the game so much more interactive and so much more interesting and so much more tactical. And just anything that moves away from I go, you go is really, really good. Now, it's a very tricky thing to do in 40k because I don't know. I think it's just a really tricky thing to do because it's just going to overcomplicate things. So I think doing it like this is going to be really interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really interesting. If we have a look at the other one as well, lurking behaviour. While this unit was within range of an objective marker, it gets cover. Great, brilliant, I love that. And each time this unit is targeted by an attack, if it contains a Ripper Swarm, that attack must be allocated to that model. So if you have a Ripper Swarm in your unit of Termagants, if you think of Necron Warriors, when the Necron Warrior sprue came out, it came with a Scarab Swarm. So you're going to be able to have Termagants with Ripper Swarms within that unit. The Ripper Swarms are going to be charging out front, taking flak, taking the shots and taking the hits to protect your Termagants almost. So that's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I'm really excited by this kind of reactionary idea. They've got reactions in Horus Heresy. There's a lot of kind of standard special reactions in Horus Heresy because obviously it's Space Marines versus Space Marines, so they can all do the same kind of reactions. I think this is going to be absolutely brilliant. Now, it has a possibility to get complicated, I will say that. However, because the abilities are on the data cards, and because you're going to be having just the data cards with you when you're playing, when you come up to the table and you come up to your opponent and they say, oh, what have you got? What units have you got? And say, well, here you go, here's my 3 data cards, that's all I've got. So I have an ability with the Termagants to move if you move too close to me. Or maybe I've got the ability to, with these infiltrators, these Space Marine infiltrators, to shoot if you come too close to me, things like that. So it's going to be easy to keep track of within your army, maybe not within the entire game, but that's not really a fear at all. That's just yeah, that's just playing a little bit of devil's advocate, but I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. I think it's going to be fantastic. Very, very excited. Armor penetration, they did say that armor penetration was going down. So there's going to be less armor penetration, which is great. The game has got far too killy at the moment. There's too much armor penetration going around, and when the game gets too killy, then the meta, if you like, shifts away, and you start trying to find things which are really durable, which is where you get all the Deathwing armies, and you had the old Death Guard armies from 8th edition that just didn't die. So yeah, the lack of AP, that's going to be really good. Now, one thing they also said is that toughness and strength, they are expanding that range of toughness and strength, which is so good. Thank you very, very much. It's not really a problem, but the challenge with the D6 system is to try and give enough range and variety across that, across the probability range sort of thing of the dice, to give you some interest and to give you some variety between the models and the units. So they came out and they said that some vehicles in the new game are going to have toughness of 12, or toughness higher than 11, I think they said. But imagine having a toughness of 12 and you're shooting at toughness 12 with a flesh borer, which is strength 5. That's not going to be doing a lot of damage. So you're not going to be spamming tanks with strength 3 weapons anymore and expecting to take some wounds off it. And yes, that's going to be so good. That's going to be so interesting. And also, strength 8 isn't going to be like automatically wounding things on a 2+. So you don't straight away need. You're not always going to like straight away. Right, okay. So I need a heavy weapon that's really good at taking out tanks and elite infantry. Okay, so strength 7, that'll do me because I can give +1 to wound, and it will always be wounding things on at least 4s. That's not going to be a thing anymore, which is great, and has me slightly excited for something I was talking about on my stream last night. The Doomsday arc, the Doomsday canon for the Necrons might finally have a terrifying stat line. Please make it strength 16 with 1 billion damage. I just wanted to, or the Tachyon arrow. The Tachyon arrow one-shots Titans. Come on, like give us something cool. So yeah, really, really interesting. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on here. The leadership, they did mention the leadership being 8+, suggests that it's still going to be something on 2 dice, or a modification on 2 dice. So I mean, I've no idea on that one. They've still got the save on there. They've still got the toughness on here. The movement 6. They've only got 1 wound. The Ripper Swarms, yeah, so toughness 2, 5+ save, 4 wounds for the Ripper Swarms, so much more swarmy. The Ripper Swarms are hitting on a weapon skill, so the weapon skill is attached to the weapon as well, in the same way as ballistic skill is attached to the weapon on here. Let me just zoom in on this one. There we go. So the weapon skill is attached to the weapon in the same way as ballistic skill is with the gun. So that's really, really cool. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see all these. Right, so let's... I'm trying to think if there's anything else that they mentioned and I wanted to talk about in terms of the game. They did say that all the Arcs of Omen books are still going to be relevant, which is great. They're not dropping those, and they're going to be just written out of the rules or anything. And because the main change in 10th edition seems to be the stat lines and how the stat lines are going to interact with each other, the things that they are talking about in Arcs of Omen with army composition and stuff would still be relevant. So they mentioned that boarding actions is still going to be a thing, which I'm so happy about because boarding actions is such a good way to play 40k. So yeah, boarding actions, and they also said that the combat patrols are going to be balanced within each other. So if you want to get into 40k, combat patrols are now going to be a really good way of doing that, because a combat patrol is going to be balanced against another combat patrol. Really, really good. I don't quite know how they're going to figure that out in terms of points. So that's one thing we don't know, how points are going to work, because combat patrols, as I'm sure everybody realises, you can get the Custodes, for instance. You get a lot of Custodes in there. And you also get quite a lot of Dark Eldar. So how's that going to work and how are they going to interact with each other. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they work. I'm very, very excited to see how it all goes down. And yeah, Terminators. The next thing to talk about, Terminators. The models, the Terminators are back. They've got a video here. We're not going to go into the video because we've got pictures down here. Now, one thing I'm very excited about and very glad about on these is they don't seem to have Primaris-ified them in terms of, and by that I mean, at the moment in the Primaris range, everything is very boring. Like you can't have a Primaris Devastator squad, for instance. This is my big bugbear. It's always the one that I go to. You can't have a Primaris Devastator squad. You can have a Primaris Desolator squad, so they can only have missile launchers, or you can only have multi-melters, or you can only have heavy bolters. You can't have a Devastator squad that has one missile launcher and some heavy bolters, and then a multi-melter for the tank that you might need to kill as well. So you can't. There's no variety within the Primaris range. Now these look like, hopefully, fingers crossed, please, please, please. These look like they're still keeping the Terminator character, so being able to take lots of tactical weapons. They've got the assault cannon here. They showed the Storm Bolter in the trailer. Fingers crossed, please, please, please do Thunderhammer, Storm Shield, Lightning Claw, Heavy Flamer, all the old classic Terminator weapons. Do not take that classic, brilliant character away from the Terminators. However, goddamn, they look good. They revealed them like this, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. They just look like Terminators." But then you forget. So that's the clever thing about this is you forget. They just look like Terminators, right? But you forget, oh no, they haven't got the picture. Right, let me go and see if I can find the picture quickly. Old v new Terminators. There's got to be a picture up. Somebody must have put a picture up. Oh, where is it? Adepticon. There we go. That's the picture I wanted. So the old Terminators, look how small and slender they look. So yeah, the new one's proper chunky, and they've got away from the weird squat stance that they had. So they've straightened them up, they've chunkified them. The new helmet is so crisp, so clean, absolutely adore it. They've even got like the little cutouts on the shoulder pads. Look at the little cutouts there in the shoulder pads. They've even got those. Beautiful proportions on everything. I think they are fantastic. I think they're really, really good. They've also got the little Gravis toes, if you notice, down at the bottom. From the Gravis, I think it's Mark 10 Gravis armor. So they've got the Gravis feet. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I really, really hope that they have... like I say, I really hope that they have all the weapons. I didn't see any with a Cyclone missile launcher in the trailer or anything like that. So fingers crossed. I am very excited for the combi weapons, though. The combi weapons that were on the Primaris. If they start bringing combi weapons into Primaris intercessor squads and things, that would be really cool. That adds a little bit of variety, a bit of individuality to them. And the last thing we're going to talk about on this video is the new Termagants as well. New Termagants. Now, I think this is going to be a very easy dual kit. I'm going to say it right now. I think this is a very easy dual kit. I think this is going to be Termagants and Hormagants. You can imagine if you just drop off the gun arms at the front there, you can then replace those with claws. You can have the Hormagant claws coming up. I do like them. One of the best things about these is that they've got the scale. They've got the scale back. So they have like the fine what am I trying to say? The joins and the panel lines in the armor plates and everything, they're all very, very fine. So they've got some scale to them. If you compare them to the old Termagants are really, really chunky. And yeah, I think the fine, obviously the plastics that Games Workshop are chucking out now have got such detail to them. They're brilliant. So you can really kind of lean into the detail and the fine scale of some of these models. So these are brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing the Hormagants. Hormagants are At the moment, they are my favourite from the Tyranid range, and that's saying something because the Hormagaunts are a really, really old model. So the Hormagaunts are my favourite of the range. If these Hormagaunts come out and they do have, they are a dual build kit, I can't see why they wouldn't be. It makes sense, right? So Gaunts, is it Termagants and Hermagaunts? Anyway, it would make sense just to kind of drop in some extra weapons on those. So I like them. I think they're good. The flesh borer thing still looks very gunny. I think somebody said that on my stream, or I read it somewhere on Twitter that that the one thing about Tyranids that somebody wasn't a big fan of was how gun-like some of the weapons looked, and it would have been cool if maybe that was integrated into their arms and it was just like their arms that came together and formed a projectile weapon rather than a pew pew I have a gun. But hey, that's kind of cool. I don't mind that too much. And to be honest, if I do get these at some point, if I do grab the new 10th edition box or something, if I do grab that, I'll probably build these as Hormagaunts anyway, if they are a fingers crossed dual build kit. But yeah, new Tyranids coming out. From the reveal trailer, we had a Screamer Killer, so fingers crossed for a new Screamer Killer. That would be amazing. We had a Lictor that was on there. We had those massive brain bugs, which I think they are. Is it the Malanthrope? Maybe they are Malanthropes. I'm not sure, or maybe they're a new psychic monster for the Nids. There was the winged Tyranid Warrior, which looked really, really cool. So there's plenty of new models coming out for the Tyranids. I am pretty sure there's going to be still insane amount of new models for Space Marines. They're not going to go here just have some Primaris Terminators. I don't know what to expect. Maybe they're going to do some assault Marines. I don't know what word they would be, but I'm sure we'll see them at some point. So there we go. Thank you very, very much, everybody. And what does this mean for your... Oh, yeah. So biggest change is the new edition is going to have data sheets, and you're going to be able to get them all for free. So you can get all the new data sheets and everything for free, or you can buy the cards when they come out with the cards. I'm going to grab the cards because cards are amazing. I have them all for my Lord of the Rings as well. It's just super easy. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my waffling about new 10th edition. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to see how all these data cards and data sheets kind of interact within the game. How the new psychic phase works, because the psychic phase is gone. So psychers now interact within certain different phases, I would imagine. So maybe they'll interact within the command phase for something, and then they'll interact in the shooting phase for some other power or ability that they have. So yeah, really, really excited. I can't wait to see more about all this. I'm sure they will be dropping more as we get up to Warhammer Fest and the reveal and drop of 10th edition. So excited! Oh, so good. Right, I need to get my Inquisitorial Retinue Warband boarding party done, ready for 10th edition now. Because if Grey Knights, Adeptus RBTs, Navy Breachers, Rogue Traders, Inquisitors all get their own little data cards like this, then I can have an Inquisitor boarding party, an Inquisitor army. Imagine 2,000 points of an Inquisitor army. It's going to be so good. Right, anyway, take care, everybody. Have an amazing rest of the day. I'm going to be streaming later on today. I'm doing a little bit of a bonus stream today because I didn't stream normal hours yesterday. So if you're around and you want to drop in, you can find me at twitch.tv/Chris Russin. Please drop me a follow on Instagram and Twitter under the same name. And you can find me on Patreon if you would like to support me over there as well. Take care of yourselves, and let me know what army you think you're going to be playing first in 10th edition. I think it's going to have to be Necrons. It's got to be Necrons, although if the Inquisitor stuff comes together, maybe it will be Inquisitor, because they are starting to look really, really cool. I'm starting to get some of them based up and done. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to go make some lunch. Take care. Have a great day.